Hello, good afternoon. My name is Kelly Mace and I'm with Smithers OASIS, and we are so excited that you are here today for our 7th installment of OASIS University. This is our 7th time with you, and we are talking about product swapping today. So please join me in welcoming Miss Sandy Schreck from Minneapolis. Sandy is joining us, and she is going to talk to us on her ideas and some ideas for product swapping, especially during this time where we have some product shortages, we've got some supply chain issues. So hopefully we can give you some ideas on how you can go ahead and you can change out some products and, just temporarily, just while we're going through this time, and you can still, achieve the same effect. So again, Sandy is with us from Minneapolis, and actually she is, you're in Arkansas?
Yeah, in Arkansas today,
in
Little
Arkansas.
Rock.
Yeah, so she is in Arkansas today, and she is joining us. And a little bit about Sandy. Sandy is a design director for Smithers OASIS. She has over 20 years of experience. She is an award-winning designer, a trend watcher, and she has extensive experience in the floral industry. She's gained professional experience in both retail and wholesale, and she has a unique perspective in the promotion of successful floral and gift businesses. Again, she's a design director for Smithers OASIS, and when she's not doing that, she is also an education specialist for Florology Now, and works with Len Bush Roses as a customer education coordinator. So she does a lot.
Definitely stay busy.
Yes, yes. So during this seminar, if you could go ahead and if you have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and put those in the chat or put those in the Q&A, and we'll try to address those at the end of the presentation. And this segment will be taped and posted on OASIS University. So you just need to go to our website, oasisfloralproducts.com, and you'll find this seminar and all of our other seminars on there. And you can just go ahead and you can take all the classes, and they're all free of charge. And after each class, we do have a short little quiz. And go ahead and you take the little quiz, and once that's completed, we will email out to you a certificate of completion, and that is great for hanging up on a wall or putting in your shop or putting in your wholesale house, and you can go ahead and that will be addressed specifically to you. So again, at the end, please feel free to go to the website, and we'll have that loaded up for you to take that little quiz then. So Sandy, tell us a little bit about what's going on out there.
Well, kind of as we're working through the supply chain issues in the pandemic, we've seen some increases in out of stock product and lower inventory on some items. And, it's just been unavoidable. A lot of extenuating circumstances.
Right.
So we're working really hard to get back into a better stock position on these items. And really do apologize for any inconvenience for some of your favorite products being out of stock. And but we know that all florists are very creative people. Yes. And so we have Frank with us today too. And so we're going to just talk through some product swap ideas and some how-tos on things that maybe we are low on, such as cages. Is going to be the first product that we're going to take a look at.
Right. And as Sandy mentioned, again, products are out of stock. The supply issue is not just with manufacturers, it's also in every aspect of the floral industry. And we've got transportation issues. There's, lack of drivers, and there's, the holidays. Everything is happening all at once. Plus, we've got the product, stockpiling too. We've got some products that are being kind of stockpiled a little bit, much like what we saw with some of the paper products at the beginning of the pandemic. So again, a lot of things going on. So that's why we thought we'd bring you this edition of Product Swap in OASIS University, so that we can bring you some ideas that you can, use during this time. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So as we're going through the videos, if people have questions that they want to put in the Q&A or into the chat, open up the chat and tell us where you're from, and see who else is all joining us on this webinar. So we appreciate you guys being here.
Yes. Our first one, again, this is for caged floral foam. So for instance, if you're looking for a floor cage or floor cage grande, and you might not have that available, or it's not available, and it will be, but in the meantime, let's see how Sandy shows us a little bit of how we can go ahead and we can substitute, and we can, she has some creative ideas for us. So here we go.
Hey everyone, I'm Sandy Schreck for Smithers Oasis. And sometimes you need to find alternatives to some of the supplies that we are normally used to having. So today we're going to take a look at some alternatives for flora cages. So we all know that the power of foam to be able to control the placement of things in our designs. But when we're doing easel pieces and some sympathy work and also event work, we like to use the cages, and so we're going to look at some ways that you can strengthen the foam and be able to have it kind of develop into a cage. So here I'm using some coated chicken wire, and I'm just going to come around the brick of foam and then use a couple of the Dixon pins, and these are a wood pick that has a connection in the middle onto easels, so they work really well, nice and fast to secure something like that. And so you can see that that could add extra strength onto a brick of foam, so you could use that way. Then you could add wire onto this just by feeding it in through your chicken wire and strengthen it to make a hook that way. I have a couple other alternatives, and so here I've taken a piece of the foam and I've dipped it in the pan melt glue. So that gives me a hard surface on the back and a watertight source. And then to create the hook on this, what I've done is just taking one of the strong pieces of wire, and after I put this in my pan melt glue, then I attached that hook in to there and then pressed it into the foam. And then we can add some chicken wire just to the front of this, and then I would go around and tape this. And the tape is the most secure, taping the tape to itself. And so I just come around a couple times with the design tape and just add that additional strength there, and that will also help to secure our wire into our OASIS. And then depending on the number of flowers that you needed to put into it, you could add bands going the other way. Here you can see one that I've done the chicken wire all the way around, dipped it into the pan melt glue, and then also added the design tape for reinforcement as well. So this would be able to hold a substantial amount of floral materials and feel like it's safe on an easel or any kind of installation. Here you can see another example where I've used the press and seal to create a waterproof back. And this is how I inserted the wire into the foam to create a strong structure to have that hook. And so you could go in there, and then I would add an additional roll of the design tape and to be able to add strength. But this could be for a little bit less material, not as strong. And then if you wanted to do something that was more natural, you would be able to, this is a creative solution using some birch branches. I've also added some birch branches, the stems on the side, to be able to make sure that I can pull that tape and it doesn't go through the foam. And so I'm just using some of those branches. You could use stems from the base of salal leaves or huckleberry leaves that could help to create a structure with tape so that it wouldn't pull through. So I hope you enjoyed some of these ideas on how to make homemade cages. I'm Sandy Schreck, Design Director for Smithers OASIS.
Well, those are some great ideas, Sandy.
Yeah, you know, there's really lots of options that you can come up with. And we know florists out there are problem solvers every day and always looking at what are opportunities
Right.
to create solutions for some of the creative things that we have to make.
Right, right. Well, the next product that we're going to show is our floral adhesive. So again, this is another, hugely popular product. And, how do we go and make corsages or things like that? And how do we, go and use wire and tape like we did many, many years ago? Or, let's just, going back to some of the basics. So again, Sandy is going to show us how to do that, how we can wire and tape until, until we're fully stocked again on all these products.
Yeah, it's a good lesson just to be able to kind of go back and learn how to do these things we
Hi,
used to
I'm
do.
Sandy Schreck for Smithers OASIS, and today we're going to be taking a look at the art of wiring and taping a corsage. We start off with choosing the wire. So the wire comes in a variety of sizes. Usually the higher number, the smaller the gauge. And so this can be 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, and 26. For corsage work, I predominantly use the 22 and 24 wire. Sometimes for bracing, I'll use the stronger wire, but the heavier wire are things I use for armatures. So the next thing that we're going to take a look at, so Flora tape comes in a variety of colors now, and today for our demonstration we're actually going to be using the black. We'll start off with the 22, and we're going to cut it in half. No sense to wire it all the way down when you're not going to need that much. And we'll take a look at a couple methods of wiring. This is a rose, and so what I'm going to do is just cut off some of the stem. I'm going to go into the calyx here, and this technique is called a cross pierce. So I'm going to come across here, and then the key on this is not to go at the same place because you're going to cut that rose in half. So we're going to go below that to do the other wire and come in and gather those down. So that's for something larger. That technique would be used in a carnation or a standard rose for extra strength. Then I'm going to use the floral tape, and this tape does not stick to anything but itself. It's a wax-based tape. I'm going to start off with just going around once. Now I've gotten it tighter. So now I'm going to come up, go up, and then back down. And at that point, I'm almost pulling this tape straight down. And that'll get me a really thin layer of tape. My final process is that I just run down that to get a clean stem on there. Another technique would be the hook technique. And on this one here, what we're gonna do is just go up through the flower head. Gonna do a little bit of a hook up on top, and then come back down into that flower head and hide that hook. And do the same technique on taping here. Down, back up, and then almost straight down, and no need to tape it down any further. The ranunculus, I would use the little bit heavier wire. This has a hollow stem, so what I'm going to do is just a bracing technique. So I'm just going to come in and just add some strength into that stem. I'm going to start down here at the bottom. With it being a hollow stem, it can kind of be very soft. So I'm just being gentle to the tape on there, and then come back and now getting it tight once I've just gotten to my wire. But that works very well. Wiring and taping is a great way to reinforce a stem. On the cymbidium, you could do the cross pierce or do a hairpin. So a hairpin is just like here, and we're just going to come down into the throat of that and bury that wire. A hairpin method would also be done on a dendrobium. We can do the same thing. Some of my fillers and my foliages, I'm not going to take the time to wire. Those I can just lay in. Some of my favorites include the Israeli ruscus, the Italian ruscus, some tree fern coming in, textural influences coming in with the hypericum. Here's some different limoniums. But those I'm just going to lay in as I'm making that corsage. Okay, then we're ready to take a look at putting a corsage together. So you're going to gather your materials. Lots of times traditionally there will be a bow involved, and I'm fine with that. It makes a good structure to start off with. What we're going to do is just start by layering our materials, and this essentially is going to be a shoulder corsage. So you think about tiering things down, and here I'm just going to be laying in some of that filler flower, and then also some of the Italian ruscus just coming in. And so I lay a bunch of materials together. Just going to do about 2 twists on that. I can do a little bit of the Israeli ruscus. If you just turn it backwards, it turns into itself, and so you're able to get a good start there. And then at this point you could lay in your bow. There, I'm just gonna pinch that and then add my floral materials into the bow on the bottom side and the top side, so it kind of becomes more of a backer. And I'm just pinching it, laying in a little bit of the filler materials and foliages. So I'm not wiring and taping those separate. I'm not adding that extra labor into that. And then I'm going to think about this one coming back here. And so I'm actually going to tape a little bit of a end on here. Ready that it can come backwards. It's going to help to hide my stem. And then we're just going to bring this guy with it. So as I'm putting it in, I'm going to almost smash it up in here like this, but then plan on flipping it down backwards over that stem, hiding that mechanic. So now I marry the two. That stem off. And then just come back and do a little bit of shaping. So those wires allow us control over the material. Pull the bow back through a little bit. And there you can see I've hidden that stem that comes down, and it'll sit very nicely on the shoulder. Let's take a look at another style on this, and we're just going to do a little bit more of a round style on here. We're going to think about these two coming together right away. And rather than a bow, I'm just going to come in with some other accents. So I'm just laying this together, doing one little twist around, and then adding some of my foliages and accent pieces. So you just lay it in, pinch it, and then come around, and now we're gonna do a little bit, and then add in two other pieces of softer foliages, a little bit of accent filler. You can see some of these pieces with a stronger stem, I'm not wiring and taping. In this case, I would potentially, because I don't want that big a stem to go in there and it'll add a lot of weight. So I'm just going to use these little side shoots. Come in and grab those there. It's kind of like the little pearls. You're making floral jewelry. Come here and then cut it off. Make sure you don't have a sharp end. And then I'm going to come back and now start shaping those wired florets a little bit, giving a little bit of space and dimension to this. And it could even be just tied onto a wristlet. In this case, it would not tie way down here where the stem is, but I'm going to bring that tie right through the middle of this corsage. But there you can see that you're able to use it in a wristlet application as well. I hope you were able to learn some techniques and tips on how to wire and taper corsage. I'm Sandy Schreck, Design Director for Smithers OASIS.
Well, thank you, Sandy. That was great.
Yeah, and we had somebody ask partially through on how do they do that on a wristlet, and
Yeah.
that's the biggest error that I see is if they're wiring and tape it, then they try to attach it down where that stem is, and then
Right.
the weight of it gets too floppy. So that's where I made it more in a circle and then
Right.
bent it open and then tied it through the middle. And
Great idea.
yeah,
That's
it makes
awesome.
it much more secure on a wristlet.
Absolutely, absolutely. This next one is our product swap, and that's going to be for we don't want to do that. We're gonna go and we don't want to. No, hang on one sec, folks. Sorry about that.
No.
This is what we have when we do it live, right?
Yeah.
For Smithers OASIS.
Okay, great. So the next product that we're going to show is our raquette. And this is something one of our other design directors, Frank Feza, was in the office, and he was showing us how you could make a raquette of your own. So basically he took a board and he painted it, and then he glued floral foam onto the board. So you can see that he used the pan melt glue, the hot melt glue, and then he glued that onto a board. So again, just using a different technique for what he needed. And then he went ahead and he soaked it, and then he was able to design, and he had, a structure for the, for what he needed it for. And again, you can tape this as well too, using your waterproof tape too.
Yeah, if you are using it, the board has a good adhesion with that pan melt glue. But here, if he's using it just on an upright, you maybe don't have to add the extra tape and chicken wire, and
Right.
also depending on the amount of product that you're putting into it. So
Right.
you need to know the sizes of your stems that are going in and how much it's being transported, where it's going. and
Hanging,
yeah,
right,
add the appropriate strengthening to that. So
right. Right. And I think that you and I were talking earlier that we saw today that there was somebody that was using a gutter, like a gutter for, and they were putting foam like in a gutter and, for, the structure for that. So many great ideas out there.
yeah, lots of times people have to get creative, and
Mhm.
on social media, we really had the opportunity to kind of see some of that creativity come through.
Right.
And if you guys are doing some things out there, we
Yes.
would like you to email Kelly May some ideas,
Yes.
and we'll put them up on the OASIS University page along with
Right.
this webinar.
Yes.
That can
Yeah.
be some solutions that you guys can use and share on what you're doing too.
Great, absolutely. Yeah, coming up in the next couple slides is my email address. We wanted to talk a little bit first, working with your clients during this time too, and how to work with your clients. We all know we're being flexible. So we know we need to be as flexible as possible, letting our customers know upfront that they may not get the exact arrangement that they're looking for, or the exact design that they are looking for. It might look a little bit different. We're using all these alternate products, using products maybe we haven't used before. We have a new product at Smithers OASIS. It's our new fiber floral that's available. I mean, that's something that maybe you have not seen it or used it before. So again, trying something new. And then too, you want to go ahead and, you're getting charged extra from all of the different areas, whether it's fresh flowers or hard goods, and people understand that. So if you are being charged pandemic surcharges, make sure that you're charging accordingly too. Sandy and I said, we were both talking, and we were at a paint company. Both of us were doing some paint company, doing some shopping for some painting that we were doing. And there was a surcharge on there. And, it was, we knew it, we were going to have that extra charge. So people understand that. At least they should, with everything going on.
Yeah, it's, one of those things where we have increased costs, and
Right.
people are understanding it's not just our industry. It's
Right.
across the board where we're seeing it, increased freight costs and stuff. And as florists, sometimes we don't feel like we can ask for some of those fees back and add on. You kind of
Right.
sell out of your own pocket, and
Right.
we just need to encourage people to be aware of other things happening in other industries, and make sure that we feel okay putting on some of those surcharges and stuff too. There's automatic charges on restaurants and lots of places. So we do have one question that came through, and just asking, what are people doing with the shortage of foam? And it's been difficult. Have to have some alternatives, and we have some, using the vases and some things. So some of the other things that I've done is create frogs out of decorative wire as well. So you can twist those around and kind of make some decorative wire cages that you're able to put down in your container. And that's something that's more reusable. And then also the chicken wire itself to make like pillow type structures and things. But, we are working really hard to get everybody back
Right.
home. And
Yes.
it's one of my favorite media because of the control that it gives me. I'm
Right.
a bit of a control freak, and like to be able to control my flower placement and be able to show that extra value, that being able to space those flowers out give me a lot more perceived value.
Right. And I'm sitting right now above the plant. So this office where I'm at is right above the plant. And I can tell you that foam is being made 24. It's just, it's being made and being produced as fast as possible.
Yeah, so we'll get you back in stock and just keep pegging away and might need to do some base arrangements and stuff in the meantime, but so we appreciate everybody's attention, and remember that you can send ideas into Kelly Mace, it's K Mace at Smithers OASIS, and
Right.
take a look at the OASIS University. You'll get an email that'll have a link to the quiz so that you can get your certificates.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And we just, again, thank everybody for their support. And we want to make sure we wish everybody happy holidays. Let's be safe out there, and hope everyone has a wonderful holiday. Hopefully we've given you a couple different ideas for, getting us through this. And again, if you have ideas, send them to me at KMace at Smithers OASIS. I'll put that up on there, and we can all work together and have some, back and forth on what we're doing.
All right, thanks everybody. I see we did get one comment through that says she loves using the brick trays for easels, and so that is a really good option.
Yeah.
Drilling a hole through it and then tape and wiring it. So
Right.
we know that everybody has great ideas, and we appreciate everybody's patience at this time when there's a little bit of challenges going on, but we're all very resilient in the floral industry and creative with just coming up with different ideas to be able to create our fabulous florals.
Great. Thank you once again. Thanks for joining us. And we'll see you next time. We have a lot planned for 2022. So looking forward to seeing you all again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.